हाय फोक्स, आई एम बैंक। एक्सेल का जो यूज होता है वो स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स होता है, कॉलेज गोइंग स्टूडेंट्स को भी होता है और एक वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स को तो होता ही है। एंड अगर आप एक बिगनर है और एक्सेल को स्क्रैच से सीखना चाहते हैं तो ये वीडियो सीरीज आपको काफी हेल्पफुल होने वाली है। एंड अब आपके माइंड में क्वेश्चन आ रहा होगा कि यार एक्सेल के ऑलरेडी इतने सारे वीडियोस पड़े हुए हैं यूट्यूब में, तो इस वीडियो सीरीज में डिफरेंट क्या होने वाला है। तो मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, मेरा रफली कॉर्पोरेट में 4 years ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस इन प्रोडक्ट फील्ड। आई स्टार्टेड माई करियर एज अ प्रोडक्ट एनालिस्ट इन 2020 एंड करेंटली आई एम वर्किंग एज अ प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर। तो मैंने इन 4 सालों में हर दिन एक्सेल का यूज किया है। तो जो भी मैंने सीखा है एक्सेल के रिलेटेड, जो भी शॉर्टकट्स हैं या जो भी इंपॉर्टेंट क्रिटिकल फंक्शंस यूज किए जाते हैं कॉर्पोरेट में, उसके बारे में इस पूरी वीडियो सीरीज में एंड टू एंड कवर करना चाहता हूँ। तो ये मेरी एक्सेल वीडियो सीरीज का सेकंड वीडियो है। आज हम दो टॉपिक कवर करने वाले हैं। फर्स्ट इज इफ एरर फंक्शन क्या होता है। अगर आपके डेटा में नल वैल्यूज हैं, डेटा अनक्लीन है और आप डेटा को क्लीन करना चाहते हो, तो विद द हेल्प ऑफ इफ एरर फंक्शन आप कैसे कर सकते हो। सेकंड इज एब्सोल्यूट रेफरेंस क्या होता है। एक्सेल में रोज कैसे डिफाइंड होती हैं, कॉलम्स कैसे डिफाइंड होते हैं, सेल कैसे डिफाइंड होता है, सेल को लॉक करना हो तो कैसे डिफाइन होता है। तो ये सब हम कवर करने वाले हैं आज की वीडियो में। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं और पढ़ते हैं सबसे पहले कि इफ एरर फंक्शन क्या होता है।
Well, okay, let's see this. So this is a table which contains date. This is the date part. Second is the order placed. C is the delivered order. So let's say B column will give you the information. These are the total number of order placed. So let's say on one particular date, 146 orders were placed. And assume this is the data of, let's say, Swiggy or Zomato, like food delivery app. Okay, so out of 146 orders, 77 orders were delivered and 18 orders were returned, right? So now if I want to calculate what is the ratio of the delivered order by the total number of order placed, right? So simply what we can do is, like, we will just use the equal function. Like, you need to always use the equal function to, to calculate, to write any the formula, right? So like when C2 divided by order placed 146, this will give you the delivered by ordered part, right? So now, and since if I want to copy paste the same formulas to all the cells, what we need to do is there are multiple ways to do it. If you double click at the right bottom part, then it will populate the values. Or if you do the undo part, you can just hold it and drag and drop. Then also values can be populated. This is the second method. Another method can be, what you can do is just use Command C to copy paste this data, copy paste this cell, right? And then go to the last cell, then select whole column and then copy paste it. Then also it works fine. Okay. So now whenever I want to see key what is the formula used for this particular cell, right? So what I need to do is I need to double click it. So I can use, okay, C2 divided by B2. These are the two cells which are being used as a part of cell reference, right? And another part is, let's say, if I don't want to double click on this particular cell, what I can do is I can use F2 function, right, to see what is the formula being used. Okay. And now let's say if I want to calculate how to calculate the return by order, right? Return by order will be like, if I use 18, like this cell, divided by 146, this will give me the return by order percentage. Again, if I want to auto populate these values to all these cells, right, I just need to copy paste the formula. Instead, what I will do is I will just drag and drop all the cells to the bottom and the values will get populated. Okay. Now let's say if you see this particular row, 11th row, right? Once you try to divide 0 by 0, if I want, since this is throwing me an error, right? If let's say I want to remove this error, how I can remove it, right? So let's say there is one function that we use, which is like if error, right? So let's say this is my value, if error. So this means if this value does not throw an error, this will return the same cell value, right? If it throws an error, what we will do is I will say, let's say, return error. Okay. So now let's say I will use this. Okay. Now what I will just again use this and cool. Then I will use the percentage part. Cool. See, here, whenever you try to divide anything by 0, it will throw you an error, right? So you can replace this error value by using a function called if error. If you try to use if error, then You can use anything here. Like instead of error, you can try to say, let's say, don't throw error. For example, let's say I can use any text, don't throw error. Then also it will work. Okay. I will just use the, see, copy paste the same value. Don't throw error, right? Cool. Now guys, these are very straightforward formulas, right? You try to divide these two cells, then it will return a value, right? You try to divide these two cells. Let's say you try to divide D by C. So these you are all comfortable, right? And whenever you try to double click on these cell, right, you are able to see ki which two columns are being used to get this value, right? So now let's say if I ask you ki I want to get the let's say in H column, I want to divide 18 by a particular number 146 only, right? But in the another cell also, I want 15 to be divided by 146. I don't want to divide 15 by 169. I want to divide 15 by 146 only, which means I want to lock this particular cell. And one way can be you try it manually. Let's say every time you try to put this value 71 divided by 146 or like this, right? But if I want to automate this, how I can do, right? Hence comes the usage of the absolute reference. What does the absolute reference does is it locks the column value, it locks the row value, or it locks the cell number, right? So let's say for this case, I want to lock this particular cell. When I say cell, cell consists of a row and column, right? So now for this, if I ask you what is the cell reference for this 146, it will be B column and second row. So we call it B2, right? So now I am saying ki for this H column, I need to populate the values, which gives me return divided by the 146
B2.
order, which is the B2 part. What I will do is I will lock this. Now, how I will lock it, right? So there is a shortcut to do the locking part for B2, which we call it absolute reference, right? We will use our function key on our laptop and F4. So when I say B $2, it means it has locked the B2 cell, right? So let's say if I use this, now I try to drag and drop, right? And whenever, let's say, use this function, you will see 15 divided by 146, right? Here, what it has done is 15 for this, right? Here, what it has done is 15 divided by 145 throws you 10.3%. And for this particular case, if you see, yeah, 15 divided by 146, right? So guys, absolute reference has a very important use case in Excel because the calculations are not that much straightforward in this the case which we have seen, like in the E and F, it's very straightforward calculation. You just need to divide two columns values. It's very straightforward. But whenever you want to, lock a particular cell number, you need to use this particular dollar sign. One way is to manually use a dollar sign in Excel. Otherwise, the shortcut is function F4. I'm just writing here function F4. Now, if let's say you try to press again F4, function F4 for this particular cell B2, like how see the magic of it, like now it has used dollars, it has removed dollar sign from front of B, but dollar sign has remained at 2, right? What does this dollar sign means here, right? So when the dollar sign is in front of both B and 2, it means it has locked a particular cell. But if the dollar sign is present only at front of 2, it means it has locked only a particular row. It has not locked a column. Cool. And if let's say I used function F4 key again, it means it has locked column B. When I say column B, it has locked, it means the value when you try to drag and drop or when you try to extend this formula, only B column will get fixed and the rows will get changed. I will show you. So see, in this particular case, like let's say if I try to use 18 divided by 146, here we will not lock a cell, but we will lock a column. Do you think there will be any change in the output? What do you think, guys? Will there be any change in the output, or it will be the same as of I? It won't be same because in I column you actually used the sorry, my bad. In I column, I think we have changed this function, right? I'm saying, let's say like this particular case, one thing. So in I column, you have used logged the cell. Okay. Now in J column, you have logged only a column. Okay. So now use this. So there is a difference, guys, right? In the logged cell, what you have done is you have logged a particular cell, right? But in J, you have actually logged only a column, which means whenever you are dragging down, your column remains the same, but your row number changes. So row number in this second row will be second row. In the third, it will be third row. And in the 26th, it will be the 26th row, right? So locking a cell is different from locking a column. Now, another part can be, let's say, 18 divided by 146. But here, we are not locking the cell, we are locking the row, right? When I say locking the row, it means it has locked the row. Your row will remain the same, but your column will get changed, right? So this, it has actually, if you see the column, because see, whenever you are dragging down, one thing I want to see, whenever you're dragging down, right, it means you are using the same column itself, right? So let's say when I lock the two row, right, when you are locking the second row, it means you have locked the second row and you are dragging down in the same column, which eventually means your column is already locked, right? So it will give you the same output of I. Lock, lock. If I try